Just a reminder, this build's only broken because of the Vampiric powers. Okay, so by that logic, if we removed these, our build wouldn't be good anymore, right? Okay. They're not equipped. Let's go see. No problem.
I missed the part where that's my problem.
She's still dead in one cycle. Guys, check out this. So remember how 100% attack speed was supposed to be the cap? Look at our attack speed. 150 attack speed bonus. It is crazy. And what's even more crazy is no Tibalt, no picking up crackling energy. Okay, that's the big part. We have exceeded and made this build even more powerful by adding poison damage. We can actually get all of the bonuses with TAL RASHA, and still, look at this. I don't need Tibalts. I don't need to pick up crackling energy. The build is so much better now. Ball lightning on top. Watch our mana on this Duriel run. I'm not even going to be popping our unstable currents. That's what makes this build so much better. Like you can see, watch our mana. No unstable currents, and it's not dipping. That is the more impressive part with this build. You don't have to collect crackling energy. You don't have to pop Tibalts, so your speed is just overall much better. Look at this. Ring of Star of the Skies right now. No way, guys. We actually got... Dude, I was joking. What's up, guys? Let's go over the best ball lightning build for poison. Now, this mix-up incorporates the brand new best item in the entire game for the new Malignant, the God Rings. So TAL RASHA's Iridescent Loop is a brand new item that every single sorcerer build basically has to play because it's just way too good. So the reason why it's so good is you get up to 15% X multiplicative damage for each elemental damage type that you deal. Now in this game, that's a little vague. Shadow and Poison actually count as elemental damage. What was probably intended in the game is supposed to be Cold, Fire, Lightning, but this worked in Season 1 and they didn't patch it, so it still exists, and you can actually apply Poison damage to get way more damage, and that is because the Vampiric powers allow you to play with Infection. But obviously from the intro clip, if you don't want to play this on Seasons, you can still run this exact build. You'll still dominate the entire game. We have solved the big issue with Ball Lightning. This is the best version of it because we don't have to pick up Crackling Energy, we don't have to run Tibalts, which is like an item where you have to activate some sort of thing to grant Unstoppable, and if you level up your Metamorphosis, it kind of becomes a problem. So we don't have to worry about any of that. This is the smoothest and this is the best version of the build because we still benefit off this massive damage bonus while not having to sacrifice really any damage because, as you guys saw from the other intro clip, we had to have 150% attack speed, which is insane. It breaks the game's cap because Accelerating Aspect, as well as one of the things on the Unstable Currents, allows you to go beyond the actual in-game limit. Now, if this gets patched or whatever, I'll update you guys, but at the moment, this is just way better because, well, if you have more attack speed, that's better. Now, there have been some people that were saying that the Ball Lightning has some sort of internal cap on how many times it can tick, but that's halfway truth. And the reason why that's the halfway truth is because if I'm still activating more Ball Lightnings, there's going to be more going around to get more ticks anyways. Same thing with the amount of attack speed that we generate. We're going to be actually using that to generate Chain Lightnings and Frozen Orbs. And the Frozen Orb is going to act as our cold, so we don't have to actually activate it. It's automatically done, so it's just going to add a lot smoother gameplay experiences. So this build can obviously dominate everything if you want to do Scissor 100s, do anything, the bosses. It's really good for everything in the game, and more likely when the new Greater Rifts come out, this build will absolutely dominate unless it gets nerfed. So let's go over the skills real quick, and then we'll go over the gear and then the skill tree as well as the Paragon. So starting off, what are the skills? So the skills are basically the same that we've had in the previous build. If you guys have copied my previous Ball Lightning build, this is going to be an update to it, but if you want to watch this for the first time, it's fine. You don't have to watch that one. Anyways, so we're running Ball Lightning. So that's our damage healer. We run the Frost Nova to freeze things like the elites. And then we got the double shields. If anything goes wrong, we activate them. But you do have to activate your fire shield just one time in the very beginning, as just it will activate TAL RASHA's fire element. So obviously with lightning, that's super free. You just activate any Ball Lightning or teleport. That'll be your lightning damage. For fire damage, you have your fire shield. And then for your poison damage, that's automatically activated with Infection. And then for our cold damage, we have the enchant with the Frozen Orb. So we get 4 elements. In the future, if we can get some shadow damage somehow, that would be pretty cool. And then we could actually get even more damage. But shadow's the one element that we cannot actually tag. And then we are running Unstable Currents. That's just activated for the bosses. And then we run Teleport for mobility. Now, as far as the enchantments go, this is what has changed up. Frozen Orb and Chain Lightning. Why do we run those? We are running those just to activate more attacks to get more resource. There's also a node that we can take, and it's right next to a bunch of different mana nodes. And one thing that is kind of important for this build, as you will want to try to reach, you can actually try to get your mana cost to be specifically 34 on Ball Lightning. That's the magic number. Why 34? Because at 100 mana spent, you're going to be getting a Chain Lightning for the enchant. And once you spend that amount, it'll shoot out the Chain Lightning, which will give you additional resources, but it also will activate your lucky hits so you can get extra resource. That's how we basically have unlimited mana. This is a very frequently asked question, which we'll get into it in a second here. But yeah, that's what we're running as far as the skills. Now, in terms of the equipment, let's go over the gear. So on the helmet, if you have Shaco, that's obviously the best in slot, but getting a helmet with like maximum life, cooldown reduction, maximum mana. Maximum mana is the stat that you want here, but just maximum life is great. If you want to get some armor, that's okay too, instead of maybe int. But max life and max mana are the things that you want. And then next up, you also want to be running the aspect of fortune if you can get it, just for extra lucky hit. That's again what really helps us out. Getting max life, total armor, damage reduction from close, damage reduction as flat stat, or if you are missing any resistances, you can get it over there. Now, this is where the build actually needs to be explaining how that it can break the cap of the game. So this is how we break it. So accelerating aspect breaks the cap of 100% attack speed. So in the game, you're only supposed to be able to get plus 100 attack speed. We go beyond that, so you don't need to actually roll it, but you do need to roll lucky hit up to a chance to restore primary resource. That's the important thing. Also getting lucky hit chance, that's great. Intelligence, lucky hit chance while you have a barrier on any of the other piece of gears, that's fine too. Just lucky hit is kind of what we need to focus in on. And then for our pants over here, like I said, you don't have to run to bolts anymore, so you actually could have a good pair of pants. So getting range to Ball Lightning is really good. That's how we're going to get past. You saw we have over 4 or 5 out of the amount that we have in Ball Lightning. The way to increase it is you can get extra bonuses on your amulet to the mastery. You can also get it over on your pants. And then maximum life, armor, damage reduction, that's all good. You want to run Esus, that's going to give you more crit. We're going to have 100% crit in the build. And then for our other weapon slot, we're running the aspect of the Ancient Flame, and then you can see the stats. You can get like bonus mastery, it's not a big deal. If you get like, let's say, vulnerable, crit damage, there's a lot of variance there. For our amulet, the important thing that we want to try to get is ranks to all mastery. Also getting mana cost reduction is good. That really helps out, giving us extra movement speed. You don't actually really need cooldown reduction in this build. It's not bad, but like it's just going to give you more shields and then more teleports. Is it really that necessary? Not really. And then on top of that, as far as our rings, we need 1 ring, and that one will be using the recharging aspect. This is optional depending on if you want to run Blue Rose. That was another option I considered, as if you run Blue Rose, that will give you more mana cost reduction, which will allow you to spam more, and with that, you can actually drop the Chain Lightning, and if you want to run something else, that's fine. But Blue Rose gives you an insane amount of mana cost reduction. This just allows us to still have a ring with life, which is actually something I really like to have. So recharging aspect is great on one of the rings. So getting lucky hit chance is kind of the primary reason why I actually really like it. And then we have TAL RASHA's Iridescent Loop. You got to run it, and every single Sorceress build is like the best thing in the entire game. And then we have the Gravitational Aspect, and the one thing that you want to roll on your offhand is specifically getting something that has the lucky hit chance to restore X primary resource. That's the most important thing. If you get cooldown reduction, resource generation, crit chance, any of these things are totally fine. But the main thing is getting that lucky chance to restore primary resource, or you can get resource cost reduction. But ideally, again, you don't want too much resource cost reduction, because you want to be able to spam 3 of your Ball Lightnings versus 4 to get the Chain Lightning to activate, which will help out with more resource. And then as far as our gems, we are running Emerald, Ruby, and Diamond, which is kind of like normal in every single build. And then for our Vampiric powers, Ravenous, Sanguine Brace. Sanguine Brace can be swapped out for Undying if you want to. Then we run Prey on the Weak, Accursed Touch, and Infection. There's also some notes here if you want to learn how to get 100% crit, but all it requires is specifically getting Elementalist Aspect, and then also getting the aspect of Ancient Flame. That's going to just boost up your DPS to the moon. So now that we went over the items, let's go over the skill tree. So the first part doesn't matter. You got to put 2 points into whatever because you need to advance. Then we put 1 point into Frozen Orb and 1 point into the Chain Lightning because you need to use those to use your aspects. Then we go ahead and max out all of these just so we can get extra damage. Extra mana is super good. And we actually can max out Potent Ward. We actually have a lot of free skill points in this build. And then we're also getting Flame Shield. I like the one that restores HP. That one's good. And then we want to get Shimmering Teleport. And then with Mystical Ice Armor, just more survivability. Then we can run Frost Nova. If you want to put a point into it and enhance Frost Nova to get more cooldown reduction, that's totally totally fine as well. You can dip out of the elemental attunement. It's kind of up to you if you want to do that. And then we want to get more lucky at chance. Remember, this is tied to how we have infinite mana. Then we have align elements. Like I said, I had extra skill points, but you can put 1 point into this if you want to. It's just I have extra skill points at this point. Mana shield, protection, these are all great. I actually really like Icy Veil because it really works quite well with the ice shield, and it just gives your barriers about half a second. It's not even a full second longer, but again, you have extra skill points. You might as well put them into something that your character can benefit from. Then we have Ball Lightning, and you just need Enhanced Ball Lightning. No more crackling energy. That slows your DPS time by a long shot. If you're running around collecting things or using your teleport, that's a loss of DPS. So this build does way more DPS. While the numbers may not be as high as some other builds, your attack speed is just through the moon, so your true DPS will actually be much higher, even though the numerical stats may be lower than what you'll see in some other people's build that may run like Fist of Fate or something like that. Again, we're scaling lucky hits, so we can just sit there spamming Ball Lightning the whole time versus, oh, every few seconds I gotta stop and pick up these orbs, right? So hopefully this makes a little bit more sense here, why this is the much better version. Then Unstable Currents, we want to run this so we can get additional attack speed. This is another thing that breaks the cap of the game. So this is how we get 150%, which is something that, well, you're not really maybe supposed to get because the cap is supposed to be 100%. Then more movement speed, more damage reduction, and then we need this to get this. So that is it for the skill tree. Now for the Paragon board, we start off with the Elementalists in the very beginning. We get Unleash. Another thing I want to mention, why don't I run Adept? This is a frequently asked question. The skill Paragon glyph is actually broken with Ball Lightning. Doesn't actually increase the size. Test it yourself. It's already on the forums. If I remember, I'll link down where other people are mentioning, yeah, it doesn't even work. So yeah, there's still lots of glitches in this game, guys. Like I said, poison counts as an element, so things may change. If the Adept thing does change, you can throw an Adept if you want to, but we're running Unleash. Unleash is really good. Again, we're scaling a lot of mana here. That's important, and this gives us more non-physical damage, which allows us to hit Frigid Finesse's bonus with Cold. And then we go to Elemental Summoner over here, and next up after that, we go to Frigid Fate, and we grab that one, and we're going to run an Enchanter in there, and then we are going to go to the right, and we are going to actually go over here for Ceaseless Conduit. So Ceaseless Conduit over here, putting in Destruction for more crit, and since we have 100% crit, it's excellent. And then we get Static Surge, and we actually don't go for the glyphs. We actually do enough damage with the brand new ring that's part of the newer update. Instead, we can get Static Surge, which gives us extra mana, and we are going to be tagging these set of mana nodes down here because extra mana allows us to maintain 2 casts of our Ball Lightning at over 100 mana. The reason why that number is very important is because when we run Elementalist Aspect, if we are above specifically 100 mana, that gives us an additional 60 crit. I know it says 40, but the amulet gives us another 50% bonus. So that's how we have 100% uptime on crit, because we can cast 2 before it essentially will regen. That's how we are able to maintain such high crits. In this gameplay that I'm showing you in the background, I'm not even using one of the Vampiric powers because I removed it so I can show off the gameplay of using no Accursed Touch, which applies vulnerability, which is probably one of the biggest things that we get with this build with the Vampiric powers. This is the most important Vampiric power in the entire build, but from the intro clip, because some people out there was like, is this going to work on non-season? And the answer is yes. And some people think that this build's only strong because of the Vampiric powers, but even if you remove, I've already shown you guys from the intro clip, you can still melt content even without running specifically the Accursed Touch or any of the Vampiric powers. But obviously, yes, it will help, and Infection does give you that bonus. But that's the update with the brand new TAL RASHA's ring. But anyways, that's going to wrap it up. The build links will be down below in the pinned comment. There will be actually multiple, just in case you guys you maybe have Shaco, maybe you want to min-max, get a little bit more DPS. Like, you can throw in Ryman of the Infinite in here, but like the survivability when you run Ryman of the Infinite or Tybalt, your survivability on Sigil 100s goes absolutely down. But that's gonna wrap it up. If you guys enjoyed it, drop a like. If you're new, subscribe to the bell to see more of the best Diablo builds, and I'll catch you guys in the next video.